crash. So that's an interesting one. But I'm gonna say, who am I gonna say? Levi Merckx, Shotmetal.
Do you know what? I was going to say Levi as well. And we're going straight away because I've completely forgotten there's not a formation lap. So there you go. We're underway and Levi King has had a fantastic start. And he is up into the lead. And someone else who's had a fantastic start is a driver you just mentioned with Merckx, who is third. We've got a driver off. Shook Medals off. VR is off. A couple of guys at the back, but it is Levi King with a fantastic jump at the start, 8/10 already, gap to Alfie, who's in second. Merckx is third, who's had a brilliant start. Pancakes fourth, Jensen down a couple of positions into fifth, Simba sixth, Beast is seventh, Rixie as well with a bad start, down a couple. Zach's had a fantastic start. Zach is up at least 4 or 5 places. Zydrad's game 1 as well. Liam's had a very good start. Zach's up 7 places. Yeah, Liam up 5.
Big snap on the exit, turn 8 for Zach, and Riggs is capitalised from that.
But what a start that was from Levi King. I do apologise for missing the start. I completely forgot there was no formation lap, and it caught me unawares. But Levi King then with a brilliant launch off of the line to get himself up into P1. It looks like a bit of a messy start, really. Paul's up 3, Voke is up 4, and Quattro up 2. So a few guys in the midfield having some very nice starts, capitalising as well on the spins of VR and Shook Medal. Excuse me. We got Beast just a couple of tenths back from Simba with a fantastic run out of the final corner. So good, in fact, that the front end wanted to go behind the rear end. And he nearly spun himself round. Levi King, of course, with the fastest lap. Beast now under pressure from Paul, who, of course, will look to capitalise on the mistake of the McLaren driver. But Beast with some excellent straight line speed. I'm not sure you were too far off when you suggested 0-0 wings there, James, because Beast looked very quick in a straight line. Because despite that mistake out of turn 15, he was still able to comfortably stay ahead of the Alpha Tower. We've got some banter going on towards the back between Owen and Bennett, and now VR and Owen as well. So VR, despite that spins, recovered pretty nicely. Shook Medal, unfortunately, not so much, as Owen's now spun as well on the exit of turn 4. We've got loads of drivers gone. Jensen's off, and Zydrad as well. They're dropping like flies here early on, as the drivers perhaps being caught out just a little bit, being on heavier fuel and perhaps slightly colder tyres. And obviously different tyres, because if I can find them somewhere, there we are. Everyone bar Bennett, Zydrad and Owen on the mediums, those 3 on the hards. So you know, there's going to be a bit less grip as well off the start, being on harder compound tyres, and this has maybe caught some guys out a little bit. We've got Riggsy just a few tenths off the back of Quattro, perhaps looking to make a couple of moves, as he was maybe slightly out of position on the grid. I think a couple of other guys slightly out of position on the grid were Ellis and Liam, who were both up a lot of places. Zach as well, perhaps showing that he was out of position on the grid, because he's obviously had a fantastic start and is up into P11, as Riggsy's now looking down the inside on Quattro through turn 1. A little bit of a late lunge. We've got a Haas round. That is a Vote round, and he's been T-boned by Quattro as well, who couldn't do anything to avoid the spinning Haas, and that is damage for the Ferrari. Yeah. That is probably damage as well for the Haas, and that is just so unfortunate for Quattro. Nothing he could do to avoid that.
Left end plate's gone, Harry. Just want to highlight as well, it looks like Levi he's not using any of his battery really compared to Alfie, but he's almost out of that 1 second range. Merckx 47 as well, fantastic start for him to get into P3. He's up 3 places from his starting position at P6. Looks like he's sticking onto the back of the front 2 quite nicely as well, with Pancakes and Simba just in behind as well. But it's all going smoothly for Levi King out in front so far, Harry.
Yeah, he's about to break DRS as well, as if he maybe uses some of that battery heading out of turn 13. It's going to be a sprint down to the detection zone just before the braking point here of turn 14, and he's done it, I think. So the Aston Martin driver has broken DRS with the fastest lap as well, but Alfie's using a lot of that battery to try and stick with him, and he has done, so he might get it back. Might Alfie. coming out of turn 3, as we've got Quattro into the pits, which is going to allow Bennett, Jensen, Evoke, Shook Metal, Zydrad and Owen to get a position. He's going to fall to the back of the grid and goes onto the hards. Can the hards go the distance from here, James?
Yeah, they certainly could. I think if you needed to pit for half now, you'd be fine to the end.
So that might be the way to go for Quattro then. He'll be in clean air, so he'll be able to just pump in some good lap times without too much hassle from anyone else. There's a little bit of a train forming behind Ellis, as there's the top 6 and then 11th down, I was going to say, in a couple of trains, but in fact, as Jensen has just got past Bennett, who's made a bit of a mistake coming out of turn 10, they've split up as well, actually. So it does look like it's going to be a 6-way fight, at least in these opening exchanges for the lead, but that could all change pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. But yeah, I can't get over that start. I mean, both Levi King and Merckx had fantastic starts. This is where really I'd love to have some kind of replay where we could watch the onboards of the stars, because I just want to see that launch from both of those drivers, and probably some others as well. I want to know how Zach's had 7 places by the first sector, or however quickly he'd managed it. He's up 2 more as well now, of course, after Quattro and Evoke tangling up with one another, as Bennett's got a 5-second penalty speeding into the pit lane, so it's just not going well for the Red Bull driver at the moment. But yeah, Zach's had a fantastic start. He did that so many times last season. He would avoid trouble and he'd just be so consistent in the race, and he'd pick up points, and he's in a strong position to do that again tonight. Up 9 places into P9, the driver who started 18th on the grid. I've been on board with Beast for a little while now, because he's been pretty much the closest driver to anyone else in the top 6, but Merckx is now looking to put a little bit of pressure onto the back of Alfie, who has done well, to his credit, to stick with Levi King, as Bennett just spinning out of the pits there on those cold tyres. It's so easy to do now, as the tyre blankets, I think in real life, if they kind of turned down the kind of how warm they can have the tyre blankets in sort of preparation for getting rid of them completely, it does mean that the outlaps are more treacherous, perhaps slightly more like Formula 2 outlaps, where you've got to get the tyres up to temperature, and it can mean that an overcut sometimes might be the way to go. So yeah, Bennett just sort of falling foul of that on this occasion. But yeah, Merckx just not close enough. It is a bit of a DRS train, isn't it, at the moment? We're so accustomed to these in Formula 1 games. Not so much in real life, but yes, we have got one move done. That's Rigsy, as you say, getting past Paul. But of course, Paul didn't have DRS, so that was a hell of a lot easier than any of his other moves. But I tell you what, there was nearly a move then from Beast on Simba. Tried to go around the outside of turn 4, just caught the end of it there. Little bit of contact, side pod to side pod, wheel to wheel. So nothing too untoward from either of them. But Simba doing well to defend from the McLaren this time round. But I did say Beast was getting quite close to the back of Simba on a few occasions in these opening half dozen laps or so. Well, he got extremely close on that occasion. Close enough, in fact, to go for a move. VR as well, another driver, perhaps looking to go for a move on Ellis. Just 3/10 back. Ellis clinging on to Liam's DRS at the moment. Liam as well, the fantastic start. He's up 9 positions. Also, the Alpine driver up into 10th after beaching his car in qualifying. We had no idea really what Liam's pace is, considering he wasn't actually able to set a lap in qualifying. Simba's lost the DRS of Pancakes in front of him, so the top 6 gonna start to split up, I think, unless Simba can get the DRS back. He's probably gonna have to use a lot of his battery to do so. Merckx getting closer and closer to the back of Alfie, so Rigsy sets the fastest lap of the race. Showing some strong race pace is the Red Bull driver. We've got Beast getting past Simba. Just missed that one, unfortunately, because I'm waiting to see if VR can get the move done on Ellis, which he can't. We'll go back to Beast and Simba, because I thought Simba might be able to get him back, but he was not close enough on this occasion. And now, of course, as usual, I'll give you one guess as what's probably about to happen. VR's going to get past Ellis, although, well, he got very, very close. Not able to on this occasion, though, as he nearly goes for a spin. So then, James, let's try and calm down for a second. Merckx is getting very close to the back of Alfie, and you tipped him to do well here. If you're Merckx in this sort of position, are you wanting to try and get past Alfie to maybe try and push Levi King, or do you think it's best to kind of just sit in at this point, stay, sort of consolidate P3, stick in the train, maybe save some fuel if you need to, save some battery as well to go for an attack later on?
Well, yeah, I think based off of, I've kind of been flicking back to Merckx every so often the last few laps. He's not really used any of his battery at all, so I should think he's probably just saving it and waiting for that mistake from Alfie, playing the long game here. Having said that though, I believe in the lap or so, Alfie's going to almost run out of battery, so that could open the door for Merckx. Having said that, he's also very close to the back of Levi's Alfie, so I think we'll have Merckx in P3 for a little while longer here, Harry. I wouldn't expect many position changes for these top four for a while.
Yeah, Levi King, 70% battery, so he's looking really strong in that regard. Ellis has what's just happened? Who was behind Ellis a second ago? It was VR. Whoa, Liam's just come for a spin there. Yeah, sorry. VR, I think, went from V1 Ellis, lost out to Jensen in the process. Yeah, Liam's just spun. Owen spun as well. Come on, struggling to keep up. Couple of spins there then. Yep. Ellis now up into P10, just over a second behind Zach, who is unfortunately just dropping time to Paul and the rest of the guys ahead, but you know, still P9 at the moment. Jensen half a second back, looking to try and regain some ground after his spin on lap 2. Beast had nearly got himself into DRS, but then DRS got activated and the front four all pulled away again, but Simba's got himself back into the Beast's DRS, so he's done well there in that regard to stick with Beast, who is looking very quick. I think if these guys ahead start fighting, which they are about to by the looks of things, Beast is going to be able to get back into DRS as Ellis gets a 5-second penalty speed into the pit lane. That's a couple now that we've seen drivers getting penalties for speeding into the pits. Merckx was close there, but just couldn't get the drive out of turn 3 to really challenge Alfie up the hill and into turn 4. As we pit window in sort of 2-3 laps, is it, James, would you say?
If they wanted to go to the hards, then yeah, probably, but I think most of these guys won't be sitting for another 10 laps or so at least.
Right. Paul and Rixie continuing to battle. I'm just sort of wondering if you're Alfie in this position, what do you do? Because you've not got the most battery in the world, but you're kind of comfortably sticking with the leader at the moment. Is an undercut something he might look at doing, I wonder? But if the pit window is perhaps not open for another nine laps or so, then he might be waiting to make a decision on that one.
Yeah, I think he's alright. He's not got the most battery in the world, but he's comfortable. I think he's obviously sticking in the DRS without too many issues. Went very deep into turn 1 last lap, but ended up with a nice drive out of it and kind of got away with that mistake. Really. Beast has now joined this train as well, Harry. So yeah,
and Rixie's going for a move back ahead of Paul into P7. These two just sort of swapping position. They're not too far off the top 6 either. If
no, not at all.
If they really do start battling heavily here, then Rixie and Paul might find themselves able to sort of get onto the coattails of these guys ahead. Simba's again just dropped back from Beast as Ijaz retired in the pit, so he's called it a day, the Aston Martin driver. Yeah, Simba about 6 tenths, about 4 tenths off the back of Beast. Just not quite got the pace to sit with these guys, but he's not slow by any stretch. It's a really frustrating feeling that when you know that you're just not quite quick enough to stick with the guys ahead, and you can see them all battling with one another. As Merckx is again very close to Alfie here. Yellow flags again for Owen. The exit of turn 3. Quattro and Ellis very close to one another in 15th and 16th as well. As Jensen now has made his way, of course, past Ellis as he pitted, but he's now only a couple of tenths behind the Mercedes of Zach. So we might see a move there for P9.
That's never the
Let's see then
easiest
as we
way
go
to
on
take
board,
Williams.
Williams. No, definitely not. Does give Jensen the inside though. I think this is perhaps a fight that isn't Zach's really though, given Jensen's pace. So didn't make that too difficult for Jensen. He gets up into P9, but if Zach can try and stick with the Williams, pull him along, that would be good for both their races really. As long as they don't really fight too much. VR as well then, trying to perhaps get past his teammate who's got the light flashing at the rear of his car, which would suggest that he's low on battery. Harvesting going on there for the Mercedes. Paul is again just 2 tenths away from Riggsy. Not quite close enough though to go for a move into turn 11. But we've got a few nice little battles starting to form now. Evoke's recovered well as well, James, from his spin. He's now in this battle for P9 as well. Just 6 tenths off the back of VR. I'm still waiting for this move from Merckx to happen, or anyone at the front for that matter, because they've been running line astern, the top 6, for so long. As Merckx, the Haas team, then they pull the trigger. They've called their man in from P3. This will be for the hard compound tyres. So Merckx pits then, going for the undercut here. He wants the track position. He wants to do the defending later on in the race. He doesn't think that the softs are the way to go. And he's gone for the hards. Let's see if that's an inspired call or if that's going to come back to bite him.
Yeah.
Much like Leclerc on Sunday. Paul and Riggs, sorry James, getting very close again. These two have just been going at it, hammer and tong all race so far in these opening dozen laps.
To be honest, I haven't really been the biggest fan of the mediums to hard strategy, have I? But to be honest, I don't think this is a bad call at all from Merckx. He's obviously feeling like he's being held up behind Alfie at least, and maybe even Levi. So you know he's going to push it while he can.
Flag, sorry, James.
Without saying I completely ruining. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
I was just that's sort of what I was just thinking.
But no, I think
yeah, Merckx. I'm sorry.
I think Merckx now he's going to be able to push. Obviously, he's not kind of stuck in that train, and that he's. I think going to put himself in a good position. He's going to be the one with that advantage come the end of the race, and those guys that are still there at the front are going to have to hunt him down and overtake him. So I think it could be an inspired call, but I'm a big fan of it at the moment. We'll have to see how it plays out though.
Yeah, definitely. Alfie as well then has decided to try and cover off Merckx. You know, it gives him clean air. He can put in the laps, much like what I said about Quattro. He's the first driver of that sort of front points scoring group to pit, as Paul then back down the inside of Riggsy for P4, as we've got Alfie, Simba, Zach and Evoke all in the pits. This will, I imagine, all be for the hard compound tyres. So let's see then, as we've got Owen off down at turn 10. Could that be a safety car? I think he's leaving the race for now. We'll go on board with Merckx. Is he going... Where's he going to be? I mean, Simba is just there, and he goes very deep into turn 1. He's not going to be really very near Alfie at all, but that is, like I mentioned earlier, due to the tyres, really. Alfie, look at him weaving just up ahead to get these tyres warmed up. I'm not sure Merckx is going to be quite close enough to go for the move on Alfie, but he should be able to get back within DRS range. And now Alfie has no one ahead of him to get the DRS off of. This could give Merckx an opportunity here, because I'm not sure he's going to have too long to do it. As we've got Bennett off again. Yeah, look at how much Alfie's struggling on cold tyres. Levi King now 1.6 ahead of Pancakes. as those guys start to split up due to drivers in between them pitting. Of course, Pancakes was 4th on track before Merckx and Alfie pitted. So that was the gap between 1st and 4th, I guess, if you want to put it like that. Are the guys at the front that are going to cover them off? Merckx, they're not close enough to go for the move just yet on Alfie. Levi King comes in, as does the McLaren of Pancakes, which leaves Beast then out to take the lead of the race. We've not said that for a long time, but Beast then does lead a race as Merckx down the inside of Alfie into turn 13. It's a very unorthodox place to overtake, but what a move that was from Merckx as Jensen gets a penalty for speeding into the pits. That's going to hamper his charge back through the field. Merckx, though, perhaps not necessarily the best place to go for the move, because Alfie's going to come straight back at him here with the DRS, with some battery deployment as well. Down into turn 1, he gets back past Merckx, and look at that, they've been jumped by Pancakes. But again, I think much like what happened with Merckx and Alfie, they should reel him back in. Merckx is not going to be close enough to go back at Alfie though into turn 4, and these two perhaps just need to settle down for a second and work on just catching up to the McLaren. Levi King has gained a hell of a lot of time here, James, on the overcut.
I'm not really sure how that's
and I
happened,
don't think he's going to lose as much as time as what he's just gained, because he'd have to lose 2.5 seconds really. I think Levi King is going to have broken DRS here of the guys around him, and that's going to put him in a really strong position for the remainder of the race. State from Merckx was that down at turn 10.
Yeah, just got on the outside curb, and yeah, just puts that your passenger went straight on. Hopefully he can get a bit of a shift on his final sector, get back into the DRS, which it looks like he has done already. But yeah, first mistake of the race really we've seen from Merckx 47.5.
Yeah, it really does seem though like the undercut is the way to go by the looks of things. Oh, sorry, the overcut is the way to go. Liam just got past there, I think, by Simbers. Bennett has finally retired. He's gone for many a spin up to this point and has retired. And we've got a safety car. We have got a safety car here in Bahrain as Rixie has just pitted. He's going to come out. Where is he going to come out? Behind Levi King still, and behind Alfie, Pancakes, and side by side with Merckx, just behind Merckx. But Rixie's jumped Simba then and got himself right into the fight as Bennett, his teammate, has finally, I don't want to say it like it sounds, but he's spun plenty of times without finding the barriers. This time he has, and his evening is over. Beast is going to take the lead, you're right, because he's got 23 seconds to Shook Medal and Levi King, although that's going to come down, I think, in a second. But he's not going to lose that much time in the pits. It's a no-brainer, really. Beast then will take the lead of the race after he pits, and well, this is going to give some drivers a very good opportunity to get back into the race here.
Yeah, one of those is Quattro. He looks like he's gone aggressive onto the soft tyres. Ellis has gone back onto his used set of mediums, potentially to try and take them to the end of the race, or maybe to just use before he switches onto a set of soft tyres in a lap or so's time. He's going to go into the pits though, and as we've said, Harry, will come out in the lead.
Yeah, very careful on approach into the pits there, just to avoid a speeding penalty.
He's going to come out
sensible stuff there from Beast.
No need to do that.
Exactly. Shook Medal as well, I'd imagine, should pit.
Yeah, for sure.
Owen stays out to avoid being a lap down by the time they catch back up to the safety car. So yeah, Shook Medal pits, and this will allow. He might. He's very tight. No, slow on the throttle out of the pits, and he's going to be side by side with Alfie.
And Levi's gone deep.
Pushes out, and Beast back through. I wonder if they've been told to let Beast through here.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, it looks like
because Levi King practically stopped on the exit of turn 1 and let Beast back through by the listeners. So I wonder if, because Beast exited the pit lane technically in P1, I wonder if whether that was kind of judged by the FIA to mean that he shouldn't be overtaken. Nevertheless, Beast has then found himself into the lead of the race. It seemed like a 20-second gap would be more than enough to be able to pit and come out in the lead, but it wasn't.
Both Ferraris on
VR
softs as well.
needs an invite back in, James, as he's just left. And yeah, both Ferraris going aggressive. I mean, what sort of lap would you have pitted for the softs, do you think?
I reckon if you have them fresh, you could go 18 and just about stretch them. I think they'll be alright.
Yeah,
at
so
the end of the
18
race.
fresh. Yeah, I think they
Advantage
probably
obviously
will.
at the start as well. So
The safety car's not going to be in until lap 18, I'd imagine. So yeah, that's it's not a bad shout. Why not? When you're 13th and 15th and 16th as Ellis is just pitting now, what have you got to lose? And I think Owen's going to pit as well for some softs. So yeah, what have you got to lose in that position, really? Aggressive strategy very much contradicts what Ferrari would probably do in real life. But it's nice to see that some people are trying to sort of push the boat out a little bit with strategy here. And well, I hope for their sake it pays off. But well, we've got probably, I'd say, 10-11 laps of racing to find out. So the order then, as we go to the number of pit stops everyone's done, which is 1. So everyone has completed their mandatory stop for a different set, a different compound of tyres. Quattro's done 2, Ellis has made 3, and Owen's made 2 as well. But everyone then will be going to the end on this current set of tyres, provided nothing else occurs.
I'm a little surprised Quattro didn't pit again there, unless he didn't have another fresh set of soft tyres. It's the only thing I could see there, because he'd literally lose nothing from it, and you'd get 2 lap fresher tyres. I'm
I'll
sure
tell you
he's
what the other
smart
thing
enough
I'm
to
very
have known that as
impressed
well,
with,
though, so he must have had used.
I know Bahrain's not exactly the most difficult track in the world in terms of avoiding penalties.
No.
But the only driver with a penalty is Jensen with a 5-second for speeding in the pits. So far nobody has a track limits penalty. So fair play to the Division 1 drivers for avoiding track limit penalties. So if I was Zach,
and he's stuck on the curb, Harry.
For a little bit of spin. And did he beach the car there? He may well have just beached the car, but he's done a little bit of a trickery there to get out.
I think he just
And,
had to off, didn't he?
To be honest, this could be. What am I doing? I'm taking a screenshot apparently. It could be an opportunity for Zach to pit for the softs. Do you think, James? I mean, Owen's pitting again. I think Owen's going for the 5-stop strategy or something now. Is he? How many stops is that for Owen? But this is apparently only his 3rd stop.
I think
he's going to do well to. He's going to do well to catch back up to the safety car, you think?
I think
So
unfortunately,
Owen onto relatively fresh mediums.
yeah, unfortunately for Zach, though, he's obviously going to pit on a fresh set of softs, but he's going to be 15 seconds further back from wherever he finishes, isn't he? Because yeah, he did obviously reset to the track. I don't think I think we'll be fine saying that, because I'm sure someone's going to send it in. So yeah, unfortunate for Zach, and unfortunate that the game now means you get beached on the curb, as Quattro is now going to pit for a fresh set. Which is a little strange.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
Zach
he's
stayed out.
Ellis, but I guess he's not got the fresh tyres. Yeah, I'm really surprised that didn't.
They're gonna. I mean, I know it. You know, it would effectively just keep going throughout the whole field, wouldn't it? But you know, Zach and Liam are just going to lose those 3 places anyway.
Yeah.
To the guys behind them. You know, why not just pit? You'll make up the places further along. I mean, you can say the same thing about Evoke. And then VR, and so on and so on and so on, of course. But, you know, if you're Simba in 7th, you're not going to pit, are you? But, yeah, it's an interesting one. Perhaps Zach and Liam aren't confident that the softs are going to make it to the end. I mean, you said you'd pit at the end of lap 18. I mean, these guys are okay behind the safety car, but they've done 2 more laps on these tyres. So it's going to be perhaps a nip and tuck, would you say, for those tyres to get to the end, in terms of wear. So
it could be tight.
Maybe Zach and Liam thinking long term here with their tyre strategy, as opposed to the short term advantage that obviously the softs will bring.
Or they might pit next lap here, but it will come in. I think, to be honest, Harry, it's not
Wait
a case
as long
of
as
like.
possible is not a bad strategy.
It's not a case of getting into puncture range or anything like that with the softs. It's just a case of them degrading so far to a point where you're just losing time. In my race sims, they were getting to about 60% after doing 10, 11 laps on them, as the safety car is in this lap. So yeah, I don't think they'll be kind of getting to puncture range. I think it could just be that the tyres are starting to just lose that grip, and you're not gaining the time that you would be at the start. But anyway, Shut Middle, obviously the first of the soft winners in P12. It'd be interesting to keep an eye on his progress.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe you could keep an eye on him on the restart, James, as I'm going to keep my eyes on the front with Beast, who has pulled the pin then and gone just before the final corner on the restart, and he's caught Levi King napping. He's pulled a second on the Aston Martin already, who's now going to be under pressure, you'd imagine, from Alfie. Simba's less than a tenth behind Riggsy as well. Alfie weaving, trying to get some temperature into his tyres. Not going to be close enough to go for a move then down into turn 1. Is Simba going to look to go for a move on Riggsy? I think he is, as these two go side by side through the first couple of corners. We've got somebody off. That is Alfie. He obviously didn't have enough temperature in his tyres as he's lost the car on the exit of turn 3. And he's gone for a spin. So a driver that was on pole and looking so quick in second for the majority of the race has just thrown it all away on the restart, as Paul has gone for a dive on Riggsy in the middle sector, and the Red Bull driver was having none of it, shut the door, and Paul went for a spin as well. So Riggsy maintains P5 for now. Paul had somehow found his way past Simba, who's now back into P6. Riggsy's lost a lot of time though, and all these front runners have really spread out, James.
Yeah, they certainly have. Shut Middle 3 off the restart, so yeah, keep an eye on him. Quattro behind Zach and Liam, who have been having a nice battle so far this lap as well. Yeah, great restart, obviously from Beast to pull that gap, and really starting to spread out now at the front, as you say. Looks like Riggs has lost quite a bit of time, and it could be a bit of a Riggs train to P5 now. It'd be interesting to see how quickly Shut Middle can get through this. Kind of needs to do it ASAP really if he wants to try and challenge for the top 3, top 4 positions.
Yeah, he had a little look there at VR through the final corner, and he's going to get him down into turn 1, I'd imagine, because he's right on the gearbox of the Mercedes already. So Shut Middle then is going to make the move and get into P8. So back to where he started for the Ferrari driver, and he's got Jensen, Simba and Riggs all within a few seconds just ahead of him. Top 4 then have really spread out. As I say, Merck's the only one within DRS range in the top 4. Riggs a couple of seconds back from there, and dropping time. Shut Middle then, as you say, James, he needs to make these moves as quickly as possible, but even then after that, how quick is he going to be in clean air? Is he going to be able to get up to the top 4? I don't know, it's going to be difficult. As we look at the tyres again, Quattro only a tenth off the back of a Vogue as well. Is he going to go for a move, the Ferrari driver, into turn 13? Merckx did one earlier, not on this occasion. Probably the smart thing to do in his position at least. DRS is back enabled, so we'll have DRS out of turn 3 this lap. Quattro then is going to make the move on a Vogue. Fastest lap of the race as well for the Ferrari driver, 31.5. Could he make it a double move on VR as well, as he brakes actually quite early, but a Vogue brakes late and makes contact with the Mercedes of VR, pushes him out of the way. Quattro says thank you very much. I might just have both these positions if I'm lucky, but Evoke has some excellent straight line speed and is able to hold on for now, but Quattro brakes a lot later than the Haas and hits him, and then nearly comes to a stop and gets hit by VR, who gets away with it. Zach's spun as well. A little bit of a messy one down at turn 4 there, as Merckx has just lost DRS to Pancakes as well, although he's had a very nice run through turn 10 and got it, got back into DRS range. Simba has DRS on Riggsy, and they've been joined by Jensen and now Shut Medal as well, who's not been able to make any more progress on those softs.
Levi's pushing really hard as well, Harry.
Excuse me. Since he got up to 8th off the restart, Levi King is just over a second behind Beast. How are the batteries looking, James?
Pretty similar. I think Levi has a couple of percent more at most, but yeah, both sort of into the mid-30s now on the battery. He didn't quite do enough that lap. Merckx has done enough though to get back into the DRS of Pancakes though, and Simba as well, with quite a bit of battery still behind Riggs, but Shut Middle in this train is more behind Riggs for P5. Just stuck now really, and can't get the advantage from those soft tyres to make any moves.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm quite surprised really at the pace that the guys on the hards are showing compared to the driver on pretty fresh softs behind, as Quattro then, after his incident, decided that that's it for tonight. He retires in the pits, showing a lot of promise early on, but just wasn't quite able to execute it in the race then. As yeah, Shut Middle really kind of just stuck here, not showing necessarily the pace that he need to get past any of these guys either. Levi King also close now to getting DRS on Beast, but just quite there yet. It is tantalising really. Merckx, as you say, back into DRS range. Ellis is in 9th. He's got a second to VR behind, so he's looking to kind of consolidate P9 by the looks of things. Beast had a very good run though through turn 13, the final sector, and he's been able to keep Levi out of DRS for now. Are we going to see Simba go for a move on Jensen? Because I think if he doesn't go for a move pretty soon on Riggs, sorry, Jensen might go for a move on him, as the Williams driver is only 3/10 back. In fact, I'm not sure Simba is going to necessarily have the chance to go for a move on Riggs, as Jensen had a little look there down at turn 1, just letting Simba know that he's there. Doesn't get the greatest run either out of turn 3, so he's not going to be able to go for one this time around either. And these guys really kind of, as we kind of found with the front runners in the first stint, just sort of stuck in a bit of a train. No one able to overtake the other, and I wonder if Riggsy's got good straight line speed, is getting good exits out of turn 14, or both, a bit of both perhaps, but he's not really been put under too much pressure by Simba so far. It's Jensen putting the pressure on in this train, as he's all over the back of Simba, but Riggs going a bit deep into turn 10 there. Simba getting close, but got a good launch, and Merckx has got into P3 kind of out of nowhere really, because he was about 7/10 off the back of Pancakes. But yeah, Merckx then into P3, but a long way now off the front two. I think it's about between Beast and Levi King for the win, and Merckx and Pancakes for P3.
Pancakes
who's going to get P5 though?
He's about 1.5 seconds down on TV.
Right, yeah, there you go then. Mistakes again, we're seeing a lot of mistakes. These cars proving a bit more punishing, I think, when a mistake is made. Jensen does of course have that 5-second penalty, James. That's going to kind of pull him back down to earth perhaps in terms of his finishing position, as he has a little look at Simba into turn 1. Simba placing his car very nicely there to defend from the Williams, and he's got a fantastic little run out of turn 3, but just again not close enough to Riggs, who holds on to 5th for now. It really is getting close now. I'm starting to think that these guys just might never overtake one another, as Alfie and VR are battling for P10. It looks as though the Williams has got up into the final points playing position, as VR gets very close there to the back of the Williams. That was almost another incident there, another car being spun round. Shut Middle really just not making any progress on the softs. Jensen all over the back of Simba. Is this going to be a move down into turn 12? Is he going to catch 11? Sorry, is he going to catch Simba napping? And I think he has a little bit, because Jensen's low on battery. Simba's got more battery, but just unawares, perhaps caught unawares as the Williams went for the move. So Jensen then, who's got to make progress to avoid losing out too much due to his time penalty, is up into 6th now, and I think is going to look to dispatch Riggsy pretty quickly here. With the DRS using a little bit of battery on the exit of turn 15 as well. Not going to be close enough on this occasion though, down into turn 1 to go for a move as Paul with another fastest lap. Paul's got some really strong pace at the moment. Shame he's down in P12 as VR and Alfie battling again. Jensen out of turn 3. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough this time round. Going to look to probably set it up on the main straight next time round, if not go for another little surprise move down into turn 11 as we got a Haas off on the exit of turn 3. That's a Vogue who unfortunately his race just came undone following that incident with Quattro. Was running in the points at one point. Down in 15th now though. Not a lot happening at the front either, is there, James?
No, I've just been keeping a little bit of an eye on it the last couple of laps. Levi has quite a lot less battery than Beast now. He just can't quite do enough to get into that 1 second window. Pancake's pretty much out of battery altogether. He's got about 3% as I go on board with him now. And Merckx has just been driving very nicely out in 3rd place ahead of him. So I think as things stand, that could be our top 3, Harry, although obviously don't want to speak too soon. Levi has no battery there on the straight at all, but very, very close now to that 1 second window.
Yeah, Jensen just not close enough to challenge Riggs again. It's weird because for most of the laps, Simba was closer to Jensen than Jensen was to Riggs. It's the driver in the middle of the train that's seemingly able to kind of get closer. But again, just no moves really happening between these guys. Alfie and VR was still continuing their battle for P10, but VR not able to get past the Williams on this occasion. So Alfie holds on to the final points paying position for now, as we've got just 3.5 laps to go then for the season opener of Season 9 in SLR at Bahrain, as Jensen get very close to the back of Riggsy. Had to just correct his steering, pull it to the right to avoid hitting the back of the Red Bull there. Didn't compromise his line too much though through turn 10, as Beast is about to pull out of DRS range of Levi King here, as I watch the gap on the left hand side of the screen tick over the 1 second mark and beyond really. It's up to nearly 1.2 seconds as they slam on the brakes for the penultimate corner, and yeah, he's done it then, Beast. 3 laps to go now. Can Beast hold on to take his first win for a very long time at the season opener here? I can't even remember the last time Beast won a race. It's something Owen would know. It's just a shame that Owen's racing, so he can't tell us. Pancakes and Merckx though battling here, James, and he might not have any battery, but he's got a hell of a lot of pace here. As Pancakes, as he pulls then to the inside of turn 4, and it looks as though he's going to get the move done as he sees the Haas go from the side to the back of him, and Pancakes gets up into P3 to claim the final spot on the podium with just under 3 laps to go here.
Yeah, I don't think Merckx is going to give this one up easily though. Obviously more battery for the Haas driver, and if he can just stick with him, it could be role reversal on the start finish straight next lap. I reckon it must have been about season 5 the last time the Beast won a race. I don't know for sure. I could be doing him a little bit dirty there, but I seem to remember it must have been that season 5 that he won the. Did he win the title in that one?
No, we got very close, I think. Ellis is very close to the back of Schutt Medal. He seems to be the driver on the softs that's got the most pace. But to be honest, it's surprising none of them have shown anything too amazing here, as these two battle for P8. I think Ellis is going to get the move done as Paul just spun at turn 11 there to bring out some more yellow flags. Merckx isn't going to be close enough, I don't think, to go for a move on Pancakes into turn 1. Nor is Jensen, nor is Simba. I think Ellis might go for a move here though. He's got no battery whatsoever. Neither has Schutt Medal. Ferrari then shows the outside line to Ellis. Goes quite deep in the braking zone. Ellis looking for the switchback, but Schumacher just placing his car in the perfect position to stop that from happening. And he's got DRS as well, as a vote retires from the session on track, which is a big no-no. I think it's on track because it looked like his car, maybe he has just crashed. But nevertheless,
Levi's DRS as well.
Track from the racing. Yeah, I was just gonna say he was looking close there, Levi, wasn't he? It seems like every time the gap gets to within 3-4 tenths, it then goes back up for those guys in the middle of the field. So I'm not sure there's really going to be much change there. Beast's got more battery.
Yeah, he's managed to pull
and
it out again.
a second gap. I think this might be it. I don't think a vote did retire on track actually, because his car didn't really move after that. But anyway, I won't dwell on that for too long. I just want to try and clear that. Alfie's just left the session. That could be his final point in P10 going there, which is a real shame. Oh, or maybe it isn't, as Ellis has just spun. That's the first time tonight we've seen anyone, I think, pretty much spin at turn 12. It's been a rarity this evening. Most seasons we get a lot of spins there. Levi then, nothing he can do about Beast. I think Beast has this one pretty much wrapped us as Merckx goes for a big dive on Pancakes into turn 1. They're going to go side by side through turns 2 and 3. Merckx is going to have the DRS, but Pancakes had the run. Merckx is on the outside, Pancakes on the inside. Who is going to get the position then? Pancakes trying to squeeze Merckx out, but he goes right round the outside, does Merckx, and gets the move. Shut Metal spun as well. Both soft compound tyre drivers spinning then on the penultimate and final laps. VR's up into 8th, Alfie's AI is 9th, and Liam is now into the final points paying position in P10. Jensen not close enough yet to do anything about Riggs, and with that penalty isn't going to be able to make the move stick on him. Levi King just not close enough. We've got Ellis round again, so I think that's it done for the top 2. Pancakes has one more shot down into turn 14 on Merckx. I don't think he's going to be close enough though to go for the move, but while one McLaren misses out on the podium, the other one is going to be on the top step of it as Beast wins the first race of the season from Levi King. It's going to be a dash to the line between Merckx and Pancakes, but Merckx holds on to take a podium here. Riggs crosses the line in 5th. It's going to be Simba 6th after Jensen's penalty is applied, but he only loses the 1 place and takes 7th. VR comes home in 8th. The Division 2 champion then starts his season off with 4 points. Alfie's AI comes home in 9th after he disconnected late on. Liam's going to be 10th. Paul comes home in 11th with Zach 12th. Owen and
Paul didn't actually finish. He spinned it before he could finish.
He's 12th. Owen will be 12th now. Ellis will get home in 13th, and Schumacher's going to finish in 14th. Paul will be 15th after everyone's crossed the line. But what a drive that was from Beast. Okay, got a little bit lucky with 1, the timing of the safety car, and then 2, seemingly the fact that he was able to keep the lead. But boy oh boy did he make the most of it. A fantastic restart, and then he just wasn't really troubled after that. He was able to maintain the gap to Levi, and just a very solid drive with consistent pace at the end there to take the win. Levi, who looked in control of the race in the opening exchanges, perhaps would feel a little hard done by, and you got to say somewhat rightly so. But it's still a very strong result for him to start off the season in P2. And after that fantastic start that got him into 3rd place, well, he had to make up the 1 position after the restart to get back that 3rd place that he'd held for so long. But Merckx does take the final spot on the podium, and that is an excellent start to the season for him as well. A fantastic race all round. A lot of drivers looking very quick, but a lot of drivers making mistakes as well, James. And that's going to be something that these guys are going to need to cut out if they want to be challenging for podiums and wins this season.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that one as well. A lot of mistakes we saw there. The ones that spring to mind, really, obviously we had the Ferrari boys both spinning on at least a couple of occasions. Obviously, Jensen had an absolute nightmare of a start, then spun, then got that 5 second time penalty as well. Alfie and the other Williams from pole had a bit of a race to forget from his perspective, and yeah, just quite a few incidents that you'd like to think really could have been avoided, especially on that safety car restart as well, where it all got a bit messy. But I don't think we should let that take away from the race that we had. It was entertaining from start to finish, and I think the top three thoroughly deserved their results today. I think Beast did exactly what he needed to do after he got into the lead. Obviously, got a bit fortunate with the safety car, but he had the pace to hold on in the end as well. So, yeah, I think it was a fantastic race to open the Div 1 season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you there. Beast takes the victory from the Aston Martin of Levi King. Merckx rounds out the podium. They were your top three. We've got at least two of them in the party, and now we've got three of them. So I'll hand it over to you, James, to conduct the interviews. But just for that, I'd like to pass on my congratulations to the top three, and just remind you all to please tick your boxes if they are there.
All right then, thank you, Harry. We'll start with your third placed finisher tonight then, Merckx 47 in the Haas. You were one of the guys that we kept quite a lot of our attention on tonight, Merckx. Had a very interesting race. Looked like you spent most of it in P3 as well. To be fair to you, looked like you had the early pace really on Alfie, but didn't go for the move. Then obviously went for that undercut, and it didn't quite pay out. I'm sure how you would have liked it to, but then obviously safety car came out, and then you did what you needed to do at the end there, fighting pancakes to bring it home for a podium, starting from P6. So yeah, just talk us through how that race was for you, that battle at the end especially, and yeah, just your overall thoughts on your start to the season.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd say well done to Beast and Levi. They were way too quick after the restart. Obviously, didn't help when Alfie broke the DRS train effectively, but I don't think either me or Pancakes really had the pace to catch up in the end. Just a couple of tenths off here and there. But yeah, obviously, start was really good. Had a really good launch and a bit aggressive off the start, I have to say, but I had to be so. And yeah, I kind of just settled in there. Went for the undercut, like you say. I'd done it the other day, gone for the undercut, and I was hoping that I'd actually had a better outlap than I thought I was going to have. But yeah, obviously there's just had too much pace. The guys in front didn't quite work out how I wanted to. But I thought I might as well have a go. That was the only way I was going to try and leapfrog ahead of Alfie and Levi at that time. So it was worth a punt, I think. And then yeah, safety car restart. Hard to get to temperature, so that was a struggle. I was kind of relieved when I looked behind me and I saw Riggs and Simba fighting it out. I was like, well, that's a relief. I can just look forward. Obviously, Alfie exited at exit turn 2, turn 3, so that was another challenger gone, and then it was just me and Pancakes after that. It was pretty feisty on the last lap, but respectful. So I'm glad to have pulled out just about. Yeah, I was all over the place on the final lap. My thumb was basically cramping up for about half the race, so I was surprised I even managed to finish the race at that point. But yeah, I don't know how many races I'm going to make this season, so it's nice to be on the podium finally in SLR for God knows how long ago it was. But yeah, yeah, thank you for and well done on the other two, like I said.
Yeah, well, it's well said, I think, and obviously nice for you to congratulate the others, sporting as ever. But yeah, kept us very entertained throughout the race. Actually, had a great battle, as you say, and yeah, it was one of the more respectful ones that we saw tonight. So yeah, congratulations on P3 and a good start to the season for yourself.
Cheers.
I've just invited Levi back to the party. And yes, he is here. Levi, could you make sure your box is still ticked, please, mate? And then we'll get on to you for your interview. Obviously, started in P2 and then got the jump early on up into the lead. Looked like you had really good pace out front, saved a lot of battery as well early on. And then, yeah, unfortunately for you, the safety car came out at a time where you'd pulled off a brilliant overcut and had a big, I think it was about a 3 or 4 second advantage out front. And then, yeah, Beast obviously got a fantastic restart. You couldn't quite get into the DRS window of Beast until it was too late. But still started P2, finished P2, and it looked like you definitely had the pace to win if things had gone a bit differently for you this evening. So yeah, I'm sure you'll still be quite happy with that if you just want to give us a brief insight into to how the race was for you. Hello, Levi, are you
Hello?
there? Ooh, I'm not sure if he's gonna type or what, but seeing as we're not getting a reply, unfortunately, we'll move on to tonight's race winner, UK Beast Assassin in the McLaren. I think I saw in your chat in the chat first win since season 4, and yeah, after that that nicely timed safety car for yourself, never looked back. Obviously got a fantastic restart, but even before that, it looked like you had fantastic pace. Obviously, did enough to kind of get back into the train after making the move on Simba, and yeah, obviously starting your season off in the perfect way. So just a few brief words from yourself on how it was for you.
Uh, yeah, I mean, qualifying P5 or 6, I can't remember which, was I was over the moon with that. I didn't think I was going to get anywhere near even the top 10, so to be sort of that high up to start with was good. But then, like you say, the race pace was actually okay. Uh, Levi, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, the race pace was okay, but yeah, like you said, the sort of well-timed safety car, and then the safety car restart was what sort of won me the race really, and then just managed to keep Levi just out of DRS range, and had Lewis in my ear, giving me some ERS management tips, I guess, which helped. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
overall pretty good.
yeah. Well, obviously starting the season off in perfect fashion. Do you think for yourself a championship challenge, potentially trying to get yourself back into McEwen, whether you want that or not? Obviously, it's always nice to win a championship, regardless of where you're going to be racing the next season. So yeah, do you think this is the start of a good season for you potentially?
Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. It's only the first race of like what 23, 24 races, so long way to go. But I'd like to think it will be.
All right, we'll try and get Levi now then. I'm not sure if you heard kind of my overview earlier, but just a few quick thoughts on your race, if you can, please, mate, and that'd be greatly appreciated.
My quality was good. I was P2. My start was also good. I controlled the race on the medium. My pace was great and fast. And I boxed 1 lap later than Alfie. And that was a right decision because then I was leading by 3 seconds and everything uh, was good. But safety car came out unfortunately, and the McLaren guys seen had a big luck, and I had an illegal overtake, but I didn't understand why. But I got it. So I started P2 behind the safety car, and on the restart, the game didn't let me, so I lost the second behind the assassin, and this is second was missing on the whole race, and of the race in the last 10 laps. And assassin was good, so was fast. So congratulations to him. He deserved it, but obviously I wanted to win this race because I felt I was the fastest guy in the track, and I controlled the race, the whole race. But P2, not bad. Keep it up.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think I'd have to agree and say that you did definitely, for parts of that race for sure, look like the fastest guy there. Obviously, the look didn't quite go your way today, but if last season as well is anything to go by, then you're going to be right up there this season as well. So yeah, thank you for that, and once again, just congratulations to the top three this evening. Fantastic race from all three of you, and thank you for taking the time to speak to us. But yeah, I think that'll do it for the interviews this evening, Harry. If you want to just quickly wrap us up, and yeah, we'll move on to next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think I speak for everyone when I say that was a fantastic start to the season, and now I'm really looking forward to where the rest of the season will take us. But yeah, the opener at Bahrain was won by UK Beast Assassin, first win since season 4, so he's had to wait a while for it. But well, what a great way to start the season there. Joined on the podium by Levi King and Merckx. Next time out, we are in Jeddah. So that's all from us tonight. I'll say so long, see you later, goodbye, and make sure to join us on Thursday for F2, and then throughout the rest of the weekend up until Division 1 on Monday. So thank you all for watching, and good night.